Hello everyone and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm going to be talking about the games I played for the first time in December 2023, and I'm going to be giving my first impressions of these games. I'll also be giving my preliminary ratings for these games, but keep in mind that games I've only played a couple times or once are going to be very preliminary. I'm going to have to play it more times to really solidify my rating, and especially on the games I played once this month. Some of them I really am not sure exactly where they're going to lie and what the rating's going to be. I'll get into that when I get there. Let's go ahead and get into these games, starting with, and I'm going to be doing the order that I played them the most, and starting with Boop, which I played 5 times in the month of December. This is a game that I got for my daughter. She had been wanting it. It's a 2-player only game, and I'm going to give it a rating of 7.5 out of 10. Now, this game to me is kind of like tic-tac-toe advanced mode, and I'm not saying that to kind of downplay it. It's definitely better than tic-tac-toe. There's a lot more going on to it and a lot more strategy. And basically what you're doing is you are putting these cats onto this mattress, and whenever you put a kitten down, it's going to push any kittens that are next to it away one space, including your own kittens. And you're trying to make 3 in a row to be able to upgrade to a cat. But if you just put it right next to ones that you already have just one of there, it's going to push them away. But if there's 2 next to each other and you put that down, it's not going to push it past the other cat or kitten, and so you can kind of line 2 up so you can put the 3rd one in to be able to upgrade that way, or you can try and boop one into a line to be able to upgrade that way. And then once you've upgraded some of your cats, you can try and get 3 cats in a row, and that's how you win the game. It's a very interesting game. It's got some nice strategy to it, and really enjoyed playing this game, and so I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Next one I'm going to talk about is Trailblazers, also played 5 times, and I'm going to give it a preliminary rating of 7 out of 10, with the caveat that I've only played this solo, and so keep that in mind. This is the Pocket Edition, which is a really small version. There is a bigger version out there that has extra modes to it. This only has the very basic mode. You've got these 3 different camps that you're going to be putting out throughout the game, starting with the first one, and then at the end of the first kind of round of play, you're going to put a second one out and then a third one. And you're going to be trying to link the same colored pathways to the campsite, trying to make as big of a loop as you can to go start one place and end again on that same camp. And you're going to score points for all the different little segments that are within that loop. There's little pictures on each card, some have 1 or 2 on that loop or that segment there, and then you're going to score points for all of those. There are bonus cards that you're going to score points for in the multiplayer mode. In the solo mode, you can use the bonus cards as an added challenge that you have to complete one of them by the start of the last round and the other one by the end of that. As far as how I feel about this game, I enjoy the gameplay itself. I'm a little iffy on the scoring system for the solo mode, in that the 30, 40, 50 points for the kind of the first few rounds seems really good. But then once you start getting into the advanced play, you have to score 50 points, which is very tight as it is. But when you're adding in these goals that you have to achieve, and so it's 50 points and achieve these goals. And I found it very tight and difficult to achieve 50 points without focusing on goals. And so maybe with a little bit more play, I'll get better at this game to be able to incorporate goals in and still get the 50 points fairly reliably. But it just seems a little tough. I would rather it be like 40 points and that, but it's the way the game is structured, and so that's how I would play it. And so I'm not sure. Maybe once I get better at it, I'll be able to do that better. And so that is Trailblazers, rating 7 out of 10. The next one on my list is Santa's Workshop. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I have a full review. You can check that out. Put the link in the description below as well as at the end of the video. But Santa's Workshop is a worker placement game. It's got 2 different modes. A standard mode, which is a little bit more for casual gamers or family gamers, and then an advanced mode, which has a lot more kind of complexity to it. Well, not a lot more, but has more complexity to it, and a little meatier of a game. And so Santa's Workshop, I'm going to rate an 8 out of 10. And I encourage you to check out my full review if you want to know more about Santa's Workshop. It's a great Christmas-themed game. The next game I'm going to talk about is World Wonders. I played this game 2 times in the month of December, and I'm going to give it a rating of 8 out of 10. And this is a polyomino placement game where you have 7 gold to spend each round, and you're going to spend that to buy these different buildings that are different shapes and different colors. and you're going to be placing them down on this board. You have to have roads in order to be able to place the buildings next to roads or next to the same colored buildings. And you are going to be building this out, and you're going to try and surround each of your buildings for points at the end of the game. You're also going to be trying to satisfy some conditions for these really cool wonders that you're going to be placing out on your board. They are wooden, very nice looking, and they're going to give you points at the end of the game, as well as sometimes some other benefits depending on the wonder. And they all have these requirements that they may need to be next to a certain color building, maybe need to next to a road or natural resources printed on the board. And so you're going to be trying to fulfill those when you can. You can spend the rest of your gold for that round to place out a wonder, whether that's 1 gold or 6 or 7 gold. You spend it all when you want to put that out. And what's interesting is you may want to spend more gold than you normally would if you are chasing after a certain wonder and you're afraid somebody else might grab it before you. And so there's a little bit of a maybe you push your luck to see if you can stay out there a bit longer before you buy it, and maybe somebody else won't get to it or will choose something else. Or you just go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to grab that right now to be able to score that one since I can qualify for it. You're also trying to not cover up natural resources on the board for points, and you're also going up these tracks that are going to get you points for the one that has gone up the least, and so you want to kind of evenly move up your tracks. And then there's also, if you get to the end of the population track, there's up to 3 points that you can get depending on how far towards the end of that track you get. There's 3 points if you get all the way to the end, then 2, then 1 for each one right before that. So I really enjoyed this game. It's got a nice puzzly nature to it as you are trying to figure out how you can get those wonders, how you can place things in your board. Really enjoy World Wonders. Give it an 8 out of 10. Next one on my list is Maple Valley in the world of creature comforts. And this is a game that I really did enjoy. We played it 2 times. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I do personally enjoy Creature Comforts more than this one, just mainly because I really like the dice worker placement in Creature Comforts is the big reason why I like that one more than this one. But this one's got a very similar feel to it. You're getting these cards that are being played in a very similar way to the cards in Creature Comforts, where you are getting resources to be able to play them into just play them out. And you're also, though, going around this board, which has different resource places that you can go to, and you have to be able to move to those places, as well as a trading spot and a few other things you can do. You got friends that you're going to go and try and recruit. They're going to give you extra turns. You get a turn per each friend that you have. And if somebody has more friends beginning a round than others, then you're going to get this basically a resource card to be able to get more resources for the fact that you're not going to have as many friends put out. And so you'll spend one of your turns getting resources from that random card there. It also has this element of trying to get the most spaces on these event cards that come out or that are out for the entire game. And when all the spaces are filled up, you're going to score points for having the most. Well, you score them at the end of the game, but you'll score those points at the end of the game if you have the most cubes on that one, as well as if you're on there, you'll get a benefit when it gets filled out. I didn't as much appreciate that aspect of the game. It's okay. It's just not my favorite. Maybe it's because I'm not a big area control fan as is. It's not really area control, but it's got that kind of feel of beating people to certain areas. It wasn't my favorite aspect of the game, but it's okay. And I think that's another part of the reason why I prefer Creature Comforts over Maple Valley. But I did really enjoy Maple Valley. Will continue to enjoy it. And this is a game that has its own space. It's not too much like Creature Comforts that it's like, well, one or the other. It's got enough similarities that if you like Creature Comforts, you'll probably like this game. But you also have a reason to have it other than you can play both of them, and they both offer something a little bit different. So that is Maple Valley. I give it an 8 out of 10. The next one on my list is also from Kids Table Board Gaming. We played it 2 times the month of December as well, and that is Diced Veggies. And this game, you are trying to fulfill these different recipes. There's going to be a bunch of dice that are going to be rolled at the beginning of the game and put into kind of a random kind of setup. And you're going to be able to cut off ones that are on the edges that add up to 10 or less. And you are going to then be able to apply those dice for the type of dice they are. They're all different colors that represent different ingredients. And you'll be applying them for their type for completing the recipes. But you also have these type cards, and they're going to want different things. Some of them are going to want certain numbers. Some of them are going to want you to fulfill a recipe prior to fulfilling that recipe in the same turn. There's all kinds of different things that will get you extra points. And so sometimes you won't want to fulfill a recipe just yet, so that you can go ahead and fulfill it for those extra points, because you can only get those extra points right then when you score the recipe. And so a lot of fun, a very kind of simple game. It's not got too much complexity to it. Yet it's got enough depth of strategy that I can highly recommend this game. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoy Diced Veggies. Kids Table Board Gaming always have some great games. The next one on my list is Hues and Cues. This is a game that I played at a friend's house a couple times. 2 times in the month of December. It's kind of a party game where the player the active player is going to get a card, and they're going to choose one of 4 different colors that are on that card to give a one-word clue as to what the color is, and then everybody's going to try and guess what color it is by putting their little pawn on the board, and then the person can give a second clue if they want to, and they're gonna. But it can be up to 2 words this time. And you can't do like darker or lighter or something like that than to try and hint that it's darker or lighter than where people have been placing or anything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6 out of 10. It's okay. It's a party game. It's not one of those that you take too seriously. One of the things that I did kind of find a little off-putting is that the color on the cards is a little bit different. At least it appears a little bit different to the color on the boards. I don't know if that's kind of a mind trick because of the black versus the other colors being around, or whether it's what it's printed on, or maybe it's the lighting hits differently when you're holding a card in your hand. But it does look a little bit different, so you kind of have to go by what's on the board when you're trying to give the clues. Otherwise, you'll kind of give clues off. And of course, the person that gives the clues is trying to get people to guess as closely as possible, because they get points for every pawn that's within this 9 square grid, this 3x3 grid, and they'll get 1 point for each one that's in there. The people that are putting their pawns down get 3 points if they get exact, 2 points if they are inside around the edge, and 1 point if they're outside around the edge. And so you're trying to get as close as you can, and you're trying to get people to guess as well as you can, so you can get points. Enjoyed it. It's an okay game. It's fun to pull out every now and then, probably. The next one I want to bring up is Pies. I played that 1 time in the month of December. And it's a trick-taking game where you're not really focused on getting points for taking tricks. It's a little bit different than that. When you take a trick, you then get first choice of the cards that are out there. And so you want to take the trick whenever there's a card that you want out there. And so you can then grab that card up. So you got certain cards that are going to be scoring cards that you're going to want to get these different pies or different ingredients to fulfill this pie that's going to match on the card's pattern. It might want 2 of one ingredient and 2 of another ingredient, or it may want 1 of each of 4 different ingredients, or different things like that. So you're trying to get those cards. After a trick is won, you're going to be able to pick cards in turn order from who got first, second, third, and fourth, so on. And so you're going to get that card and be able to have it there to apply to one of your scoring cards. But there's a few different things that can go on in the game as well. There's one type of card that when you take it, you are able to steal from somebody else's things there. And I didn't really like that aspect of the game as much, because I had this card that I want to score for, and then all of a sudden somebody's taking it from me, or I have just the right amount of ingredients if I get this next ingredient, and then all of a sudden somebody takes one of my ingredients I was planning on there. And there's also a dog that can protect you, but then somebody can go ahead and grab that dog, as well as there's multiple ones in a round that come out with that dog. So you're only protected for a certain amount of time there, as somebody else grabs one of those cards as well. I do enjoy it, and it's kind of a neat little take on trick-taking, where you're not really focused as much on the taking of the things as much as the scoring of different things. And so you want to be first to be able to grab what you want first choice, but then again, you'll get something no matter what you chose. And if you are last, you get an extra little kind of extra fruit called a plum that you can apply with other plums to meet if you need 2 of one thing, or you can apply it as just a plum when you need 4 of different things or something like that, and it will be apply for one of those. And so you get something extra if you are last there, to kind of make up the fact that you got last choice. Very interesting game. I'm going to give it a rating of 7 out of 10. Next one on my list is another one of these small games from All Play, and it is Ghosts of Christmas. And this one is one that's been tough for me to rate, because on one hand, there's something I really like about the game, And on the other hand, there's something that I really don't like about the game. And so I was trying to decide, should I rate it 7.5 or an 8 because of what I do like, or does it get pulled down to a 6 or 6.5 because of what I don't like? And so I'm going to settle in on rating it a 7 out of 10 for now. What I really like about this game, what it does really well and unique, is the way it's another trick-taking game. In this game, you are playing basically 3 tricks simultaneously. You're going to be playing in the past, present, and future. And on your turn, you're going to play one card into whichever one of those 3 that you want to. And you're going to play one card in each one over the course of the 3 tricks. And so I may decide I want to play this card in the past this round. The next person may say, oh, well, I'm going to play this one in the present. And once everybody's played one in past, present, and future, you're going to go ahead and get those tricks for whoever won the trick. And the first person to play in past, present, or future is going to determine the suit for playing that round. And so if I play a blue card in the past, then everybody else has to follow suit with blue unless they don't have any blue. And in that case, they can play offsuit or they can play trump. And so what's really neat about this game, though, is whoever wins the past trick, once everybody's played all the tricks, whoever wins the past trick is actually going to become the first player for the present trick. And so the suit can actually change from what everybody was playing when they were playing down the cards to what's actually going to win the trick. And so let's say I was off, let's say, I won the blue trick here in the past, and the tricks were green in the present. But I was able to play offsuit yellow in the present. Now my yellow becomes the suit, and so if I'm the only one that played yellow and nobody played trump, then I actually will win that trick as well. And add an extra little wrinkle in here. Let's say that when we were playing, I actually had a yellow in my hand. And so normally I would have to play yellow in the present because that's what was led. But I can go ahead and lead off into the future and lead that last yellow that I had to make myself off suit, so then I can play in the present to be able to play off suit in the present. Now I win that past trick, I make the present what I played, and I can win that trick even though I normally wouldn't have won. So it's got this neat little kind of extra gaminess to it, and trying to plan around and be able to play the game in a very unique, I really enjoy that play. Now what I don't enjoy about this game is the bidding aspect of the game and the scoring aspect that related to that. You see, because you are bidding in this game an exact number that you think you're going to take, and if you take less or more than that exact number, you get nothing, no points. If you get that exact number, then you'll get 2 times that number. Let's say I bid 4, I'll get 8 points for that. Now you can also bid, like say 3/4, 3 maybe 4, or 2 maybe 3. And if you do that, then you'll get 1 point for each of the tricks that you took instead of 2 points for each trick. But the caveat's still there. If you take 2 or you take 5, when you bid 3 maybe 4, you get 0 points still. And so I don't really like how tight that is and how you have to get either exactly or within that 3/4 kind of range to get any points. And it's also going to lead to a runaway leader, as maybe in the first round I went ahead and bid 4 and then got 8 points, and everybody else bid and missed their bid. They get 0 points. And there's no forgiveness there. You can't kind of underbid and take a little bit more and still be fine like you can in a lot of other games. I played a lot of spades when I was growing up, and you might try and hedge a little bit by saying, I think I can take 6, but I'm going to take 5 just in case I don't quite make the 6. Well, you can't really do that here. Well, you can a little bit with that. But if you take 2 over, even if you've done that kind of hedging your bets there, you are going to get nothing. And I don't really appreciate that. Especially with the fact there's 3 or 4 rounds to the game, depending if you're playing 3-player or 4-player. So you're already having very little time. And in fact, if I were to adjust this, if I were to house rule this game, first of all, I would make it to where you can score points even if you go over or have something like that. Maybe get rid of that whole double mechanic altogether. Or I don't know exactly how I would tweak that. But I certainly wouldn't have that kind of... It's too tight where if you go over by 1 or something like that, or 2 if you're hedging your bets there a little bit. I didn't like that. And I would also kind of make it longer of a game. I'd maybe go 6 rounds for a 3-player game and 8 rounds for a 4-player game, or maybe have a set goal of once this threshold of points has been met, then that's the last round and you score. Something like that would probably be the way I would personally have done the scoring for this game. Just didn't fully appreciate the all or nothingness of the scoring and how somebody can jump ahead real easily in this game and not be able to be caught up to. Next game on my list, I also played one time, and it's Point City. Point City, I'm rating a 7.5 out of 10. This is a game that I got because I played Point Salad once and enjoyed it. And so I heard about this game that was a little bit more complex than Point Salad, and so I wanted to get this game and try it out. I did enjoy it. That's why I'm rating it 7.5 out of 10. But I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Point Salad. And the reason why I'm saying that is that I think the complexity is there. It's a little bit more than Point Salad, which to a certain degree might be good. But it's not really a complexity where it's like, okay, if I want to play one of the more kind of complex strategy games, I'm going to pull this one out. It's just a little bit more complex than Point Salad, and I don't know that I like the added complexity as much. Basically, what you are doing is you are going to be able to pick two different cards on your turn. One of them may be they can be scoring cards or they can be resource cards. And if you're going to pick a scoring card, you have to be able to score it right then. You have to have the resources to pay for it. It's got this bit of a splendor mechanic to it where you are getting permanent resources throughout the game that you can then apply later on, as well as your temporary resources that you pay at the time that you go ahead and score a card. You've also got these different bonus cards that you can grab. They're going to give you points at the end of the game if you are able to meet their requirements there. I do enjoy the different aspects to this game, but to a certain degree, I think I enjoy the simplicity of Point Salad more than Point City. If I want a nice simple game, that I'd go for Point Salad. If I want a bit meatier game, there's probably other games I would pull out rather than Point City. I did enjoy it. That's why I'm rating it a 7.5 out of 10. Just between the two of them, I think I'd pick Point Salad over Point City, just because I think this type of game really kind of lends itself to that simpler, kind of lighter gameplay. Next one on my list is Mindspace. I played it one time in the month of December, and I'm very tentative on the rating for this one, as I need to play it a few more times to really figure out where I want to rate this one, but I'm going to give it a tentative rating of 7 out of 10. This is a roll/flip and write game. Basically, at the beginning of the game, you are going to roll dice, which are going to be numbers that you're going to put out for where you can take those cards from throughout the rest of the game. And the cards are going to come out that are going to have different shapes on them that you're going to be able to place in your brain grid there. And you can't have the same color next to the same color, and so you kind of have to work out. It's got a lot of puzzly nature to this game, and you are trying to also score for different objectives. Be the first one to score that objective, and you get the most points, and then everybody else gets kind of lesser points after that. I did enjoy the puzzly nature of this game, but I need to play it a few more times to really solidify what I think about this game. But I'm going to give it that tentative rating of 7 out of 10. The next game on my list is 1930, The Golden Age of Airlines. And I've played that game one time as well, and I'm giving it another very tentative rating of 7.5 out of 10. And this is one I don't fully know exactly where I want to place. I really enjoyed our play of the game. It's a very Euro game. In fact, there's practically no randomization in the game at all. The only randomization is at the very beginning of the game. You're going to get 5 cards that are randomized, one from each number value from 1 to 5. It's going to give you, when you complete it, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 money, which is basically points as well as you can use it for spending in the earlier part of the game there. And they're going to be basically about different routes that you're going to try to make with the same airline. You're going to have an airline in 3 different cities, and you'll be able to, when you do that at the end of a round, you will be able to get the money that's listed on there, as well as go up in whatever the airline is. Their stock will go up 1. And so that's the only randomization in the game. All the rest of it is straight up a Euro game that has no randomization. You are completely strategically trying to figure out which stocks you're going to invest in, and then you're going to be playing out. And whenever you invest in a stock, you'll get one of the little tokens for that stock, and then you're going to place it to take an action for that stock. And you have up to 7 actions in a round. You're going to start out with less than that because you won't have 7 stocks at the beginning of the game. But when you take that action for the stock, you can do one of a bunch of different actions that relate to that airline. Including one of the actions is to fly the airline, which is going to get dividends for those who are part of that stock if you want to. Of course, whoever's the CEO is going to get to choose what action that is going to relate to that stock, whether it's going to be a full dividend or a half dividend and some other bonus. that's related to the airline. Is going to help upgrade the airline a little bit. And it's a stock market game. You are basically trying to invest in these stocks, get these stocks to go up, get dividends, and you're going to try and whoever has the most money at the end of the game is the winner. It plays over 6 rounds, and you're basically just trying to make the stocks go up that you are in, and you're working together to a certain degree. There's a semi-cooperative nature to a certain degree there, as multiple people are going to be invested in the same stocks, and so you're going to want those stocks to do well. If you have more in that stock, you're going to want it to do even better than maybe one that if you only have one in this stock, you're not as vested in that stock doing well, as opposed to if you have 3 or 4 in another stock. And so, in fact, you may even, if you only have one stock, try to a certain degree, make it not do as well. In fact, in the game that we played, during the last round, my friend had only one stock invested in my company that I had 4 stocks in, and so he went ahead and his first action that last round was to fly the plane before I could get it up to the next level of dividend there, so that it would only pay out. So it would pay out basically $2 less for each stock. And whenever you do that flight, everybody that's going to get 2 for the full dividend for each level it's gone up in the stock. And so so you kind of have to balance also, do I want others to get as much money, or do I want to focus more on investing into that stock getting up? It's got a lot of interesting choices throughout the game. Where I kind of feel iffy on this game is twofold. First, it took us over 4 hours to play this game, and I know this is a first play, and so it's going to take a little bit longer, but I don't see it being a lot shorter of a game. Maybe get it down to 3 hours. It seemed almost a little bit long for what it is. But I'd have to kind of play it a few more times to figure out that. As well as in the game that we played, at least, it was a very anticlimactic final round. After the first 2 or 3 turns in the final round, a lot of it was just, okay, I'm going to do an action that's not going to do me any good at all. Not going, this airline is maxed out as to the dividends it can pay out when it does its final flight. And so it's not going to do me a whole lot of good to increase that. In fact, I found it kind of weird that you could max out the amount of money you're going to get from the flights there. Also, some of the one of them got maxed out early on as far as much as the stock is worth at the end. You get points at the end of the game. You get money at the end of the game for each stock you have based on how much that stock is valued at the end of the game, and that can max out as well. I can understand that one kind of maxing out more than I can the dividends. You'd think you could keep going up and up and up because you can keep going around the board, but once you've gone around the board 2 times, in fact, even before the second full time you've gone around the board, you've maxed out the dividends that you can get. Thought that was kind of weird, and it led to the last few rounds being like, you know what? These ones that are lower down, I'm not going to get up to the next level anyway. These ones that are higher up, they're maxed out, so there's no point in me trying to work out getting them even more. I thought it was kind of an anticlimactic ending. I don't know if it always end that way, but it almost felt like it should have ended maybe a round earlier or something, because we got about halfway through the last round, and there was like our most of our actions were meaningless at that point. But anyway, that's why I'm kind of a little bit iffy on that, both for the length there as well as that kind of anticlimactic ending of the game that we played, at least. But otherwise, I really enjoyed this game, and I can highly recommend it. 7.5 is what I'm giving it as a tentative rating right now. And the final game on my list here is Last Light. And Last Light is a 4X game. I was kind of excited to play this game because I like the idea of 4X games, but I don't like the typical 6-hour length of 4X games, especially when you are kind of racing to maybe like 10 points, and it's like you're getting a point or 2 every hour, and then finally at the very end somebody, in an almost anticlimactic sense, gets 2 or 3 points, and it's like they win the game for getting it very quick at the end there. It just seems like a lot of build-up and a long time that's overstays its welcome in a lot of those games. So when I heard that Last Light is a 4X game that plays in around an hour, and you're playing not to just 10 points, but you're playing to 20 points, so there's a little bit more scoring going on, I was like, okay, I need to check this game out, because I like the idea of 4X games if it would be shorter and maybe a little bit more point scoring. So this sounded great. And I'm a little tentative on my rating of this one. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 to start out with. It may go up a little bit, but I'm being cautious on my rating for this. And there's a few things I didn't like about this game. First of all, it seemed, at least from our first game, that there's some imbalance there in the different factions, as well as the combos that can come up. Certain tech is better than other tech, and maybe not as balanced with how much that tech costs that's better versus the not so good tech. Very easy. In fact, one of our players got some combos that really got him a lot of resources throughout the game without having to do the trade action even throughout the game, and he was just building ships left and right and getting all kinds of tech easily and all that because he had so much resources compared to the rest of us. And so I didn't really like the possible imbalance there as far as that goes. And another thing that I really didn't like is the combat system in this game. And what I didn't like about that is basically you've got these cards that you're playing out for actions, and you're playing each card once until you've played them all out, and you can play your refresh card and get your cards back. And you only have one card that is move and attack. You can use it for just moving, or you can move and then attack others. And once you've played that card, you can't play it again until you refresh unless there's something that gives you that card back. And you can't fight back if somebody comes into your space and attacks you with their command card unless you played a command card that round. And so if I've already played my command card and it's just sitting there played, then I'm a sitting duck for when somebody comes in to attack me. I can't defend at all. I thought that was kind of a weird way that works. And if somebody comes and attacks me and I didn't predict that they were coming to attack me, then also I can't defend because I played something else that round. I thought that was a very weird kind of way for that to play out, that you can't defend at all, and didn't really appreciate that aspect of the game, especially since you only had the one command card. Once it's played, it's out there until you can refresh and get them back. And also it seemed like the dice themselves had lots of opportunities to get hits. You even had one of the sides that is a hit and a re-roll, so you can possibly get 2 hits out of that one die being rolled there because you get to re-roll a die when you get that hit. And so I felt it was too easy to do a lot of damage to somebody without them even being able to defend, as well as a little bit of imbalance there. Another thing I didn't like about the game is the randomization of the planets. There wasn't a good system for randomizing the planets. You're basically you're able to see the planets that you're grabbing, or if you kind of look up and kind of feel around and grab a planet. It just felt like there could have been a better way of randomizing. Maybe you have cards that have the different planets on them, and then you could shuffle those up, and then when you flip over a card and say, okay, this is the planet that's going here, flip over another card that's going here. Thought that would be a better way to maybe do the randomization. I really did like the way the planets looked, and I did like the overall gameplay, the different cards that you are playing to do different actions, and the fact that you can't take the other actions until you pull your cards back for the most part. I did find enjoyable, other than that command action issue that I took issue with. So last slide, I'm tentatively giving it a 6.5 out of 10 right now. It's a game I want to like more, but I'm having some issues with some of the gameplay there. Maybe after I played a few more times, that'll adjust as I see some other strategies that can kind of mitigate those potential imbalances in that command issue. Maybe, I don't know. So 6.5 out of 10 right now. It's an okay game, but it's not one that I'm highly recommending, at least off of my first impressions of this game. So these are the games that I played for the first time in the month of December. I also played Final Girl's North Pole Nightmare, kind of expansion to Final Girl there. I'll have a review at some point on that one that you can check out. I don't really intend to go over expansions in this game, and so I'll leave that for another day for a review just of that game once I've played it a few more times. But these are the games I played in December. I hope you've enjoyed this video, giving you something to think about these games, and keep in mind that all of these are first impressions. I also encourage you, if you would like to go ahead and check out my review of Santa's Workshop or one of my other videos here. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.